James, like what is your like favorite sector when it comes to meshing blockchain technologies and just different sectors of the world, right? It could be anything. Like what is the thing that really excites you the most, that kind of like meshing those technologies? Can I be honest with you?
Not blowing smoke or being a company man. I really, really, really like the idea of tokenizing real world assets. I like the idea of bringing the blockchain to life. These are all fucking buzzwords, but I'm just saying, like, I really think it's a really dope way to get your normie, degen, the random people really involved and see that there's utility behind this whole space. Because up till right now, there's a lot of different ways that people can get cashback rewards, and you think about that, and that's probably like, oh, let me get this credit card so I can get 3%, 5% cash back. Not as many people do that as you might think, and but people do love to get something in return. And in marketing strategies that I've had in the past with past companies, when I had my ShipShape consulting company, my number one thing that I told people was, you give first, and then when your hands are open and empty, you're open to receive, right? And if your company acts like that, like, oh, I'm going to give, then they're going to get back tenfold, because you give to everybody a little bit even. Well, now your hands are empty and they have a chance to give you back. So that being said, I think rewards programs, ways for people to take something that's real, tangible, and valuable and actually have an influence or make money with that, the liquid value of that asset, aside from just wait till it's worth something and sell it.
And you can customize pretty much all of these different terms that need to be, you can really customize how it's not only tokenized, but being distributed, whether it's through like derivatives. You want to whitelist different users, which whitelisting is just assigning rewards for specific people. But yeah, that's really interesting. I think as soon as the largest companies in the world, I think when it comes to even gaming, there needs to be those types of stakeholders utilizing this technology for the average person to even want to get into it. Because, for instance, Web3 gaming, I think it's getting saturated in a sense where, you're getting all these games getting shipped out, but there's not a lot of demand. And I think the reason is because, user base is one, there's not a lot of users. And, it's sad to say it, but the brand, you need you need like the Activisions, you need like the Blizzards,
2K, yeah,
exactly. So I think you need a little bit of participation from those large companies for, like I said, the average user to want to delve into it.
Right. And it's interesting too, because before I started with the company, I had spoken on some like Web3 panels and things like that, just exploring the next steps of Web3 and what that means and blah, blah, blah. And part of that, a lot of people, a surprising number of people, think that Web3 is Ready Player One. It's like you're putting on an Oculus and customizing your clothes and, buying real estate in the metaverse. Yeah. And that is a small sliver of what Web3 really encompasses. And obviously now with the company, I'm understanding the depths of it's so much. It's a whole universe, right? But when you talk about gamifying this game tokenization, they're really like on the cusp of it. I know I spent $30 to get the black cell on Call of Duty, because I like the guns. I was like, man, let me just go ahead and get these extra points.
Bunch of consumers.
Right? Yeah. So it's a lot of fiat currency exchange, right? For the in-app currency or in-game currency. But how is that different from the tokenization on-chain version as we talk about it with like Corey?
Like I said, if in my opinion, I think people spend their time, right? Some people spend their whole lives behind a computer screen playing Roblox. I can tell anybody who does that, would you do that for nothing and ultimately spend a lot of your money on Robux, whatever you call it.
Right.
So I think if there's some fluidity, with the items in the game, the skins, where you can actually trade them amongst different players, it really does create an entire economy based on those in-game skins or whatever packages.
Oh, I just thought of something weird.
And, you earn things in the game. Like, sometimes you earn something in a game, you don't even use it. You have 100 skins in the game. A lot of the times you just like to use one of them.
Yeah.
So you can just sell off the 99 skins you don't want for, again, it's a free market. So
whatever someone's willing to pay
it creates
for
an entire economy based on vaporware.
Yeah. Well, interesting. And you know what's crazy is it just popped into my head as you were talking. Is so in-game skins. If you could imagine the new NCAA game that's out, right? It looks freaking sick. Right?
I'm playing you in that.
It looks fucking sick, dude. And like in it, you can you pick your team, your players, but they have like all these sliders where your players get fatigued if they get injured, like they can't do certain moves. So they have all these little extra factors that they've put in the algorithm to really give you a real life experience, right? So I wonder if in this future Web3 gaming space, you could have deteriorating assets. So like clothing, there's a wear and tear that happens with real world clothing.
Yeah.
You could have it where the value will go down because you've owned it. It's just like with your Jordans on StockX, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you're 2 years old. How much game time did you wear that item?
Yeah.
If you bought it and kept it in your digital closet, then it's mint. It's 100%. But if you wore it out into the world XYZ number of times, it slowly decreases in value.
Yeah, and that's where it gets interesting when it does get messy when it's something that does deteriorate in the real world. For instance, gold.
Right.
Gold never deteriorates. You could, it's always there.
Melt it, flip it, rub it down, smack it.
Exactly. Whatever. So when it comes to like tokenizing shoes, yeah, that does get a little messy, I think, because, again, it can get messy. But for instance, like a Rolex, just tokenizing the actual certificate, because there's a lot of people who make replicas, there's like a whole dark market based on people who sell replicas, whether it's even shoes, Rolexes. If Rolex as a company wanted to issue their own NFT to kind of showcase that, this is the actual Rolex, that would be the actual tokenization process. It's just tokenizing the actual certificates. So that's a real life use case where Rolex could they would save, tons of money because people, if there's a foolproof solution there for mitigating fraud, I mean, you take it as a $1 billion company, you take it.
Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, when I think about B2B sales, like how you convince Rolex to do it, it's like, it's almost not in the, hey, protect yourself like an insurance policy or a defense. It adds additional value, right?
It does.
Now, all of a sudden, this value is tangible, it's transferable, it's inherent. And so now the value of your Rolex increases. Your product is more valuable when it's on chain and it's trackable and it's all these things, right? It's proven, it's non-fungible.
Yeah. No, it's really interesting. Really, I think if Rolex, if you're listening to us, I can send you an email. We can talk. We can discuss. But these are really good use cases that can all be done on Corium, on blockchain technology. So, we're at the forefront. I think we're building some really amazing things. When it comes to macroeconomics, I think anyone listening to the podcast really just take a look at what's going on in the real world and, take a step back from, the basketball games and the football games and things like that. And, just prepare for what's to come. Because ultimately, if the dollar does collapse, you need to be holding some of these tangible assets, in my opinion, not financial advice, but, But yeah, I think
Yeah.
just be prepared and touch some grass. Don't work too hard.
Right.
Just
Well, there really needs to be a push for like I think across the industry, and this is on the Web3 side, for like a Web 2.5, like let's hold everyone's hands and bring them into this new world, because that was one thing I know at the XRP Vegas. It's like, yes, there's always the first early adopters you see in that bell curve, right? The first ones who jump into something and they understand it and they figure it out, and then they share it with their friends and friends. But then there's these people on the outskirts, of which make up a majority of the population, and there's some barriers to entry, right? Like we in Austin at our hotel, shout out to Rose, right? One of the bartenders, she was like, "What is crypto? How do you do it?" Right? And Michael made friends with her and got her onboarded to a wallet, and even sent her some crypto, so like held her hand through that early process. And then she came to us the next day and was like, "Oh my God, I was up super late last night researching stuff and watching YouTube videos." And so I think it's like there has to be this initiative to kind of hold people's hands and bring them into this space, because they're going to get left behind, and you can't leave behind the majority of the population.
And why do you think, James, and that's an amazing point. I think really what's missing in the world, I think, is, peer-to-peer talking, like really just talking face to face, because we're doused with marketing, constantly in the world. You can't trust marketing nowadays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's just so much marketing, so many advertisements.
And they're so smart about it. Like certain colors to make you hungry, certain sounds.
So you talk to people face to face. I mean, it's like you don't really need to sell that much. It's really just if you have good intentions, you want to onboard them to the new financial system ultimately, then they will listen. But that's the whole point of going to different conferences, events, meeting different people in person. It really helps with, just making friends with the people who are striving for the same goals as you.
Right.
And, not every connection is going to end up as a deal signed, but, for the most part, most of these people will always be within your network. And, really it's a beautiful thing having this network of people who are striving for the same thing as us.
Yes, absolutely. To that, I really, you couldn't spit it, Mike. No, I really do. Like, my girlfriend Kiki, shout out to Kiki too.
Shout out Kiki.
Yeah, she isn't very like technical in that way, but she had held some Bitcoin. She was like one of those people who's like dipped a toe when everybody on TikTok said, "I'm buying Bitcoin." She was like, "Nah, Bitcoin." Yeah. And she made some stuff on Doge or this or that. And as I'm talking to her about the stuff I'm learning, because like I'll just like go home and just word vomit, like, "Oh look, I learned about this and the tokenization, and you can it's a smart token, so we can And she's just eyes glazed over. But the great part is every now and then something gets through, and she comes back to me with like, "So it's like this." And I think it gives me additional, like we said, Batman tools in the belt, where I'm like, "Oh shit, I could just say it like this, and I can skip over all this other stuff."
Yeah.
By just getting to, by speaking to this level. Now our conversation with a business, an intro conversation with some business that you're going to onboard as the BD guy, like we can kind of make that connection. We start to see outside the box. Oh, here's how you could tokenize that thing, or here's how you could do this thing, just by having these conversations with normies.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.